I had mentioned maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, some stories about Prabhupada chastising devotees for not offering obeisances, for not offering full obeisances, to just like seeing Prabhupada and bowing their head. And just yesterday, I heard another such story. So in the last month, I think I heard 5 stories of Prabhupada chastising devotees for just bowing their head, not bowing down, or bowing down and just coming up, just touching their head down. So I thought we should talk a little more about this, because the fact that I keep hearing this is very significant. And I can remind you what we spoke about last time, for those of you who heard it, and also for those of you who haven't heard it, then it will be the first time. Basically, Prabhupada, it's like every time a devotee would see him, maybe going out of the temple or coming into the temple, going out on a morning walk, coming back, coming into his room, and they didn't pay obeisances, he would notice it. And the last story I heard was a devotee just did that, and Prabhupada was so upset with him, so heavy with him, that the devotee tells the story that that evening he left the temple with the intention of committing suicide because he felt he had displeased Prabhupada. And of course, Prabhupada has this power to know, and he called him back and told him, I'm very pleased with your service. But the point was, in that moment, Prabhupada noticed. So these 5 stories that I heard recently from various devotees about not paying proper full obeisances were all situations in which Prabhupada noticed that they didn't do it. And so just the fact that he noticed, and not only noticed, but said something about it, and not only said something about it, but was intent, was heavy, was concerned, and even said in one instance, this is the beginning of the devotee's fall down. And so what we can understand is there's some minimization of the relationship between the guru and disciple, and that's what Prabhupada was noticing. And anytime Prabhupada would notice where a disciple was minimizing his position, not because he needed it, but because he was the spiritual master, and therefore it's the duty of the disciple or a necessity of the disciple to respect him, Prabhupada was very concerned for that disciple. There's something wrong. He's not paying full obeisances. So that's interesting. And as I was contemplating that, the idea came to me that this humble submission and respect and honor to the spiritual master, of course, we know is foundational to our Krishna consciousness. But a lot of times, devotees, their attitudes aren't proper towards their guru. And what to speak of, sometimes we've seen devotees leave their guru for another guru. So if Prabhupada's chastising them simply for not paying obeisances, then just take it from there. In anything, there's so many things you could say worse than that, that are manifestations of minimizing your spiritual master. So the point of this discussion is that we're just isolating this one activity, but it reflects or it embodies or exemplifies that the disciple in some way is minimizing his respect and towards the spiritual master and the position of the spiritual master by not that simple thing, which to us may not seem like a big thing, but not paying obeisances fully, chanting the complete pranam mantra, bowing down. Now, as we said before, sometimes your spiritual master may not want you to do that or require you to do that in public, or it may not require you to do it every time you go in and out. Prabhupada did. That's just at least worth noting. But again, the point is that Prabhupada felt Anytime the disciple was minimizing the position of the spiritual master, there was huge concern. And you may know that story where on Prabhupada's books, I think it said founder, it didn't say founder Acharya. And Prabhupada saw, oh, you're minimizing the spiritual, and he was very upset. You're minimizing the spiritual master. And Prabhupada felt if his position was minimized, ISKCON would be finished. So whenever he saw that, it was both bad for the disciple, but also a concern if it was widespread that would be the end of the movement, because the guru-disciple relationship is the basis of everything. It's the basis of our strength. So you may have many Siksha gurus, you have one Diksha guru, all of them you should respect. Prabhupada said, respect my godbrothers like you respect me. And even though we may not follow all of Prabhupada's godbrothers, but still, the superior position, there has to be a certain degree of respect. That's very, very important. And although Prabhupada may have said things about his godbrothers in terms of their preaching and how they weren't successful, for us, our position, utmost respect. Our position, utmost respect to senior devotees, to more advanced devotees. Our Western culture is not so much about respecting superiors. Asian culture, Indian culture is very much about respecting superiors. So as Westerners, those of you who are listening to this who are Westerners, we're more challenged with this idea of respect, because our idea is, well, why should I respect you? Because you didn't do this, or you did that, that wasn't proper. So we're always analyzing how much respect we should give a person based on what they do, what they say, who they are, and so forth. Okay, I understand that. There is some obvious reasoning and value to that, but there is etiquette. So your spiritual master is your spiritual master. Your teacher is your teacher. Your mother and father are your mother and father. They should be respected. Maybe they're not the most Krishna conscious in the three worlds. Does that mean you don't respect them? I only respect the Mahabhagavat. My guru is not a Mahabhagavat, so I don't really have to respect him so much. It's a principle. It's not the person you're respecting the principle of the spiritual master, of the guru. You're respecting the sannyasi. Well, I know I didn't see him at Mangalartik, so why should I respect him? He's more of a sannyasi in dress. No, you're respecting the position of sannyas. And Prabhupada was asked, should we pay dandavats to the Mayavads? And Prabhupada said, yes, but don't associate. But you respect them because they're sannyasis. You respect the order of sannyas. So that's something in the Western mentality that, especially American mentality, maybe not so bad in Europe, but in America, we're pretty bad with this. We don't have this concept of respecting a position as much as they have in Eastern Europe and even in England. Of course, in England it's getting worse, but still better than America, and in Asian countries, India, it's better. Of course, as Kali Yuga progresses, they'll also go down the tubes. They'll give up that respect. That will be there, inevitably. But at least as devotees, we should understand this principle, that if someone has a position, we're respecting the position that the person's in, even if the person isn't perfect. That's etiquette. So Prabhupada made these points. We can't overlook it. That, you're the disciple, I'm the spiritual master. I don't need your respect, but you need to give it. And Prabhupada noticed when it wasn't given. And that was a flag in Prabhupada's mind that there's something wrong. There may be something wrong, or there is something wrong with the disciple in their heart. Of course, you may say, oh, well, maybe it was just ignorance, and that could be. But that's not the way Prabhupada saw it. Even though it was ignorance, whatever, Prabhupada saw it, no, this is serious. This is beginning of going down. We have to maintain that respect. So I think this is very important. And why did Krishna send me 5 stories in the last month or two about Prabhupada chastising devotees for not paying full obeisances? Maybe so we could talk about it, maybe so we could share it. But it's interesting that it all just came up in the last few months. Hare Krishna.